Ross Chastain and Chase Elliott make contact on a restart that spins Elliott into the inside wall, taking him out of title contention. TJ, spot on, spot off?
I'm spot off because I think that kind of that was the race right there. That was where it was going to get exciting, and it kind of was like, all right, let's see what happens here. Oh, then it's gone. But Ross made an aggressive move, and Chase kind of threw, I don't know, maybe threw a late block, and they come together, and the wreck happened. But I think that the race was building up, actually, at that point. To me, it was like, okay, the 22 had a bad stop, got back in some traffic a little bit, and next thing you know, he's starting side by side with the 9. The 1's right behind him. 20's a row back, So it's like, okay, here, this is starting to get interesting. Who's going to do what here? And they took the green, and it was like, yeah. So, watermelon, the train struck again. So what do we call it, Freddie?
Don't give a to her.
Yeah, the Ross Chastain.
The thing I'm most spot off for about this whole thing is Chase Elliott in these media sessions. He's our most popular driver. He's who I would say 80% of our fan base at least likes, if they don't love him. I mean, he's the modern-day Dale Jr. And when you walk into media center sessions where he's the hot topic, he flat out won't talk.
See, I like it. Here's why I like it.
Why?
Because I think the little bit of I feel like when we do interviews with Chase, like two ways, it's a little, he never really answers. It's a little mysterious. And I like that I don't know, he's just always kind of reserved. And I don't know how to say it. There are some guys that you look at him, and I won't say who, but you're like, he wants to be cool, but he's not, okay? I think Chase Elliott is kind of cool. I kind of like that he doesn't expose himself, and I don't know, I kind of like it.
I get why, because at the end of the day, Mr. Hendrick and Napa are all that's the two people he needs to keep happy. Whoever the CEO of Napa is and Mr. H, right? So what he could say could be detrimental, but at the same time, I'm sitting here hanging on the fact that I want to know, did Ross Chastain wreck you or did you wreck yourself? And he won't tell you.
But here's why, is that I don't think he knows. Because I watched first off, I'm spot off, and here's why. It happened with 100 laps to go. And it happened with Ross Chastain, who you just don't give the benefit of the doubt to, right? If it's anybody else, I'm like, well, I don't know, he was probably there. But it's Ross Chastain, and there's 100 laps to go. That's the move you make on the last restart, or maybe it's with 50 to go, but not 100. With 100 laps to go, we're going to get a caution. So I'm spot off. I think Ross was too aggressive at that point. But I think the reason Chase didn't answer is that I don't think he knows. I think he's like, I need to go back and watch. I need to go back and watch the in-car. And when you're standing on pit road and they show you the replay, you're kind of looking at it, but you're also, there's a lot going on.
That's what Brett likes. He likes them reactions.
I don't think at that moment, because it was. If the other thing is, Ross went from the penthouse to the
outhouse.
The outhouse, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this guy was a rock star last weekend, and anyone he gained, he's totally lost him in one move at Phoenix. But I don't think Chase knew who was in the right or wrong there, because I think depending on which side of the team you're on, you could have seen it either way.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. So you think that was an aggressive move on Ross's part?
Well, when you pull to the bottom, well, first off, we saw Ty Gibbs on Saturday almost go too fast.
We saw a lot of people all weekend.
I would say you could have called that either way, right? That was pretty gray area. I'm glad they didn't call it, but you can't turn down too low. So I think Chase was being a little cautious, not turning down below the start-finish line too early. And Ross doesn't give a damn about anything, right? It's like there's no rules for him. So to me, that I think it was too aggressive. Yeah, I do.
That's fine. That's fair. I mean, the way I looked at it was, and we talked about it on here, the restarts are the only chance you have to pass anybody.
True. Yeah.
And if you're not aggressive on a restart and you just, all right, I'm gonna let him come down on me here, and now you're stuck behind him the rest of that run. And if we go green, we're done.
Yeah.
And I think that we put a lot of emphasis, me and Bubba, me and Landon, on it just make whatever forward momentum you can take it. If you get stuck behind somebody, you're going to kill yourself. And that's at every racetrack, not so much Phoenix. But I just feel like you're fighting for every inch, and especially it's a guy you're racing for the championship. If you have any opportunity to get in front of him at a place like Phoenix, you have to take it. And I think Ross, I think Ross just stayed in it. He pulled to the bottom. He had a run on Chase, pulled out of line, and was taking the momentum going forward, and Chase decided to come across his nose, or I don't know if he didn't know he was there or what. But
I think that goes back to what's happened in the 35 races before this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you don't get the benefit of the doubt, right?
yeah.
Is because
100%.
you've done maybe the wrong thing in all these other ones, so you're like, you're too aggressive, right?
Yeah.
And I think if it's anyone else, you're like, it's
But why? So my question is you're the 9 lining up. How do you not just fully expect that and take it away before it even happens?
Well, it's hard to take it away before it happens because, like Jamie's point, there was a couple times on Saturday. I hate this rule at Phoenix because they don't call it correctly a lot.
It's a terrible rule, but there should be a camera there, and if your tires touch a cone or a line, it's penalty. It's just a fact.
Because like there's a lot of times where on Saturday, I think it was Justin that was behind us. I was like, all right, wait. I'll be like, you're at the line now, inside. Like, how is that possible? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just at the line, how's there somebody inside of me?
Same thing. I'm like, I'll count down to it. You can cut now inside. So,
There's no way.
how do you do that?
Yeah.
There's guys that cheated, and then I feel like the second that I tell Landon, okay, we can cheat it here a little bit, they'll be like, all right, post a 10. It's like,
I know.
Yeah.
So but I just hate
They need to clean
rule
that
there
up. They
because
need to clean it up.
I mean, we saw it. I didn't see it. You had told me about it because you were watching it on TV. The truck race, the 30. Somebody had told me the 38 was close. I saw the one they played it on the big screen at the racetrack with Ty. I was like, wow, he has broke the plane of the car in front of him, and he's not to the start finish line yet.
Remember that video from, was it last year? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking?
no, I was talking about this year, but I mean, it was last year too.
I mean, he's inside the guy before the start finish line, turn it down.
But there's no reason not to because they're not going to call it. I mean, they call it on the guys that aren't racing for anything. They called it on the 42 truck. They got somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like they just all right, we're watching this just so you guys know. But
you aren't even racing anybody, but post the 42.
Yeah. So I just hate that rule there, and I don't know. There's no way to combat it. I don't know what you do to change it, but I mean, it's just like that rule always seems to come up at that race, especially.
It's the only thing at Phoenix that is exciting ever is when you take the green and those guys fan out
75 wide.
and
Yeah,
6
that's
wide.
fine, but just put us all in the same.
I know, but I mean, look, we're already overly officiated.
Oh yeah,
we have too many rules. Caitlin Vincey sat where Jamie's sitting last week and said NASCAR is a hard sport to learn. We don't need to make it harder.
So why do we
I mean, y'all are all right. It's
why even wait till the start finish line? You take the green.
I said that for years. And
I mean,
you got to
stay in line till the
People
start
say it
finish
creates.
line, but
People say it creates too many wrecks.
yeah, but the start finish line deal is not going to go away, or maybe it is. I don't know. Could you imagine that? No more.
I think it's an easy fix. I mean, I think that you just enforce it every single time, and if you do, people are going to wait a little bit longer so they don't get penalized.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the and I think the drivers would be okay with that because I know Chase Elliott would be because it was marginal when Ron Ross turned down. So if you enforce it, it just goes away and no one does it.
exactly.
But you got to enforce.
But you got to enforce it. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
we don't
the-
have to have another
every
rule.
time.
We just have to enforce the rule that's there.
It's like the yellow line rule at Daytona, right? It's easily enforced until the last lap, and then that's a super hard rule to enforce.
But I think because there's a rule there, people are very conscious of it, right?
Yes.
Like you're like, ooh,
And
don't
it
want to
took-
give that, right?
yeah.
So if you know
Y'all
that,
forgetting about Talladega already?
I mean, we just had a truck race.
That's
where
what I'm saying.
Somebody didn't get penalized. I don't know who it was.
You know
but
what we're
somebody-
talking about, right?
I do, but I also remember. I think it's a little bit different if you get hit in the door and shoved down. I don't remember 100%, but I believe it was Matt DiBenedetto got hit in the door and got pushed
By
down.
Ben, yeah.
So I feel like there is an exception to every rule, and I'm with you. When I thought the same thing, but I feel like he got forced down there. So I don't
No, we agree.
Yeah.
But then Ben should have been penalized for forcing him down there. That the rule is, you can they penalize both ways. Either you go below the yellow line,
Yes.
Right.
or you've been forced
But
below
did
the yellow
Ben
line.
not get hit also? I don't know that because it's hard to talk about it now.
Ben forced him down there, but their reasoning was that Ben was avoiding a wreck that
Another
was happening
wreck,
5
yeah.
cars behind him.
Right.
But it is what it is. But
No, it's a no-win.
Yeah,
right.
no.
Like if you do
It's
it,
so hard.
It's a no-win.
I would hate to be in the position sometimes to make some of the calls they have to make.
And it's so honestly, it's so easy to talk about it now and to look
After
at it and be like, well, this is what you should have done.
Yeah,
but
we don't make
but
the decision in
they
real
make
time.
it in 3 minutes. Or 2 minutes. They're trying to
less
make
than that,
yeah.
It's time for you to sell your home and make that big move. Let our friends at OfferPad remove all the worry and hassle. Get started today at OfferPad.com.